So ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng E is equal to mc squared? Anong ibig sabihin nun? Remember, in classical physics, we have conservation of energy and conservation of mass. Ibig sabihin ng conservation of energy, energy cannot be created nor destroyed. Yung ang ibig sabihin ng conservation of energy. And conservation of mass is, of course, mass cannot be created nor destroyed. However, according to this equation, to this famous equation of Einstein, energy and mass are actually equivalent. Pareho lang yan silang dalawa. So, ibig sabihin, we can create energy. Pwede tayo mag-create ng energy from what? From mass. Okay? Ibig sabihin din, we can destroy mass. So, anong ibig sabihin nun, sir? Ang ibig sabihin nun, when we destroy mass, for example, i-destroy natin si mass, then that would mean that we have created energy. When you destroy mass, you will create energy. Ayan. That's according to the famous equation of Einstein. And when you create mass, then that would mean that you have destroyed energy. Energy. Ayan. Or vice versa. So if you will destroy energy, then that would mean that you will create a mass. Or if you have created an energy, then that means that you have destroyed mass in the process. Okay? So ibig sabihin, mass and energy are basically equivalent. Okay, so that is why in relativity, in modern physics, we do not say conservation of mass, we do not say conservation of energy. We say conservation of mass energy. Conservation of mass and energy, because they are just the same thing. Paano natin i-visualize ang ganyan na concept? For example, we have 1 kilogram of 1 kilogram of uranium. This equation is used particularly in nuclear fission and fusion. We are going to discuss that in the finals when we will be discussing nuclear physics. So anong ibig sabihin nito? Gaano ba yan ka revolutionary ang equation na yan? For example, we have 1 kilogram of uranium. For example lang uranium, napakalaki na yan ang uranium nyo. We have 1 kilogram of uranium. Anong ibig sabihin? O gaano ba kalaki yung energy na kaya ma-provide ng 1 kilogram of uranium? Given mass or rest mass, 1 kilogram of uranium. Uranium is the radioactive decay used in nuclear power plant and in atomic bombs, usually, uranium. So gaano ba kalaki yung 1 kilogram of gaano ba kalaki yung energy ng 1 kilogram of uranium? So energy is equal to 1 kilogram times what is the speed of light, and that is the speed limit of the universe. Alam natin yan. That's 3 times 10 to the power of 8. Remember, this is just an approximation. It is basically equal to 299,792,458 meters per second. Kalimutan ko na paano yan. Or 299 million. 299 million, 792,458 meters per second. That's the exact value of the speed of light. This is just an approximation. Meter per second squared. Okay? Using your calculator, of course, that will become, ano yan? Wait lang ha. 1 kilogram times 3 times 10 to the power of 8 squared. And that is equal to 9. 9 times 10 to the power of 16 joules. Okay? Ganon kalaki yung energy ng 1 kilogram of uranium. 9 times 10 to the power of 16 joules of energy. And that is 9 followed by 16 zeros joules. So anong ibig sabihin ng joules? To put that into perspective, alam natin joules is Newton meters. That's the meaning of joules. Pero in terms of energy production, pila naman ang mapasugaan na? Wait lang ha. Ako sang energy needed to launch a rocket. 30. Ang kailangan ni energy to launch a rocket is 30 megajoules per kilogram. Okay? To launch a rocket, to launch a rocket, to launch a rocket, a rocket. Ang kailangan na energy is, kailangan ng energy to launch a rocket is, pila to? 30 megajoules. Pila man ang, pila to? 30 megajoules? 30 megajoules or 30 times 10 to the power of 6. 30 times 10 to the power of 6 joules per kilogram of the rocket. So yan, 30 megajoules of kilogram. Okay, so for example, usually pila man kilo ang rocket? 75 the mass of a rocket just as it runs out of fuel. Just as it runs out of fuel is 75,000 kilograms. 75,000 kilograms. So 75,000 kilograms, so multiply nato 75,000, pila ang energy nga kailangan? 75,000 kilograms man daw on the average ang rocket. So times 75,000 kilograms, that means ang kailangan niya nga energy, pila man na? 30 times 10 to the power of 6 times 75,000. That is 2.25 times 10 to the power of 12 joules. Okay? So energy. So that means ang energy nga kailangan para mag-launch ka o 75,000 kilograms nga rocket is 2 times 10 to the power of 25 times 10 to the power of 2.25 times 10 to the power of 12 joules. Pero naama man kay 9 times 10 to the power of 16 joules. So that means pila ka rocket imong mapa-launch ana. So i-divide na to. Divide na to ha. Pila ka rocket ang kaya na to i-launch. So 9 times 10 to the power of 16 joules divided by 2.25 times 10 to the power of 12 joules. Pila man eh? 9 times 10 to the power of 16 divided by, answer, 40,000 ka-rockets ang kaya nato ipalupad. Pwede ta mag-launch og 40,000 rockets gamit lang ang 1 ka kilo sa uranium. Okay? That is how revolutionary this anong tawag nito? This concept of mass energy equivalence is. Imagine that 1 ka kilo sa uranium, pwede ka mag-launch og 40,000 ka rockets. Okay? And assume nga that 40,000 ka rockets ang mass ana kay 75,000 kilograms. Okay? That is why for this modern times, dako kayo ang energy nga kaya ma-produce if we are using nuclear power plants. Muna nga daghan kayo og naga create or naga-build of nuclear power plant. Why? Because for a very small amount of mass, it contains enormous amount of energy. For example, like, butang nato na sa perspective, 1 lang na kilo sa uranium, 1 kilo sa uranium. Okay. However, of course, we cannot convert yung whole kilogram of, hindi natin pwede ma-convert. Wala pang way na i-convert yung whole kilogram na uranium into lahat, i-convert natin yan lahat into energy. So usually in nuclear physics, which we will be discussing sa finals, gagmay lang kayo ang mass defect. Mass defect ang term ana. So later sa nuclear physics na to, dili ginang 1 kilogram whole. For example, kani, convert na to ni tanan into energy. No, fraction lang. So in nuclear physics, dili tanan ang ma-convert into energy. A fraction of that energy. Fraction lang. Still, it is an enormous amount of energy. Muna, amot nganong gina. Pero kung mogamit mo kaning kung sa nuclear power plant, gamito na itong nuclear power plant, napo na siya cons kay radiation, napo yung mga yan. So daghan kailangan i-consider. However, in the perspective of energy alone, dako kayo ang energy nga kaya niya i-provide. And that is shown or that is described by the by the equation, by the most famous equation, E is equal to mc squared. Yun, di ba? Amazing kayo, no? Muna nga lingaw kayo mag-physics, especially theoretical physics. This is just a theory before. This is a theory before, and it is put or application. This is now the application. This is a theory. The application is in the nuclear power plant. Sometimes na put sa nuclear bombs. So sometimes the application of science can be a boon or a bane. Tama ba? Can be good or bad. Depende na sa paggamit sa tao. Ingon pa ni Einstein dati nga, a knife is very useful. However, it can kill kung use na to carelessly. So that's the mass energy equivalence. Let's have an example dito. What is the kinetic energy of an electron moving at 0.98 C? Calculate natin. Kinetic energy ang hinahanap. Remember the formula? Kinetic energy is equal to the total energy minus the rest mass energy or rest energy. And we know the equation for the total energy is the Lorentz factor times rest mass. This is rest mass. C squared. Sometimes zero ang nilalagay, but then again, there is no such thing as relativistic mass. So kapag nakakita ka ng M, that is referring to rest mass. Kanina lang ginamit ko yung M at saka MO para lang sa derivation. So kapag nakakita ka ng M sa problem solving natin, that pertains or that refers to the rest mass, which is invariant in different frames of reference. Minus the rest mass, C squared. Paano natin to i-solve? Pwede na to i-factor out ang mc squared. So mc squared, mabilin diri kay the Lorentz factor minus mabilin diri 1. So this is the formula for kinetic energy. Okay? Now, ano ba yung mass ng electron? Alam natin the mass of an electron is what? Mass of an electron is 9.11 times 10 to the power of negative 31 kilograms. That's the mass of an electron. That is constant, of course. You need to memorize that. Times C. C is constant. So 3 times 10 to the power of 8 meters per second squared. Don't forget the squared. Now, the Lorentz factor, I'm sure familiar with the Lorentz factor now. This is 1 over square root of 1 minus V squared over C squared. 0.98 C squared over C squared minus 1. Yan. So dito, calculate lang natin. 9.11 times 10 to the power of negative 31 times 3 times 10 to the power of 8 squared equals, what is 8? 8.199 times 10 to the power of negative 14. Anong unit nito? Kilogram meter squared per second squared. That is joules. So joules. Or of course, kinetic energy is joules. Times, value nito sa kabila? 0.98 squared. 1 minus answer. Square root answer. 1 divide answer. Minus 1. Times 4. 4.0251890076. That is the factor. Times, this is equivalent to 3.3 times 10 to the power of negative 13. Negative 14 dapat ni? 14, no? 14. Daw, 16. 16 minus 14 lagi. So, joules. So, this is our kinetic energy. So, our final answer? Red, in red. Kinetic energy is equal to 3.3 times 10 to the power of negative 13 joules. Yan. Di ba? Ganun lang kadali. That's how you use mass and energy equivalence.